Okay, it says I'm live. Welcome, my Covey, to the premiere edition of Quailer 100 Goes Live. All right, so yeah, I apologize. So I need to set up my. Oh, I have the backdrop in the back because this is in my spare bedroom, and I apologize. I'm supposed to be looking at you guys right here. Somebody gets somebody's trying to text me. I apologize. Um, okay, somebody's asking me, "Are you live?" Yes, I am live. I am live right here, right now. Go to Quailer100. Uh, so I'm gonna text her. Go to Quailer100. Okay. So it says, "Say something." All right. Welcome to the Covey premiere. All right. So, yeah, I guess I'm the only one there. All right. So I actually wanted to just test this out, and I don't know if this is actually uh, working right now because, of course, as soon as you go on, you don't know if anybody's watching. Um, I see. All I see here are. Oh, somebody's texted me again. I apologize for the interruptions. Let's see. Okay, she says your viewers are still asleep. Well, that's one of the other titles I was gonna do is the Insomniacs. So Insomniacs, welcome. So actually, this is Quailer100. So my channel is about all kinds of stuff. So actually, what I wanted to do was actually have this channel. There was back in the day, several decades ago, they said, well, once you hit 50, it's all downhill from there. So, then they start talking about Picasso, how successful he was after the age of 50. And then Georgia O'Keeffe, they're both painters. And so they're saying these folks were really productive in their life after the age of 50. So nowadays, 50 is pretty young. I'm actually 57 now. So I think in a couple of years, I plan to do what I want to do. I think the first 50 years, I feel like I had to do it for somebody else. So now it's nearing that time. I'm heading towards retirement, and who knows? We never know how long we're gonna be in this world. But I'm gonna try to do it all and do as much as I can. So I can remember when I was a kid. I was actually about I'd say about 16 years old, and I was working on a car. It was a Toyota Corona that was given to me by my brother, and I wanted to customize it. Unfortunately, it had a big old dent, and I remember I believe it was on the driver's side in the rear panel, and I had an older brother. I'm so there's many of us. So so you know oh, hello, Abcd Thomas. Good morning. Welcome. I'm sorry if I didn't notice you right away. I got so caught up in my story. So if there's anything, this is my first time, so this is the premiere. So I apologize. I wish we could dialogue. Actually, I wish there was a way to dialogue in this one other than just trying to type. Wouldn't that be great if we can have sort of like a live show where you have like people tuning in, people, people wake up in the middle of the night, and they might have great ideas. They want to bounce it around. They want to bounce around, or questions about anything. um I kind of went off subject here. And I'm hoping to create that forum, but I don't know if that's actually possible with YouTube. So, if if that's possible, if it's something you folks are interested, you know, um, please comment below, or maybe you could comment on one of my YouTube videos. So, Mr. Thomas, if you're not part of the Covey, please subscribe. And I promise a lot of good things later on, as this channel gets going. So anyway, let me just finish with my story about me. About when I was 16 years old, and I think this will give you an idea why my mind bounces around, and I try to do a lot of things, and why my channel seems to be a mismatch of a lot of things. So, I was around 16 years old, and I was working on that bondo, trying to do bondo on my car that I was going to inherit from my brother, one of my brothers. And I tried filling it with bondo. And of course, nobody taught me how to do auto body. I just, my brother, I think, bought some bondo, one time. And bondo is that plastic filler, by the way. Bondo is a brand. It's Bondo, well, that's a plug for you guys, Mr. Bondo and Company. So going back to the story, so I actually wanted to customize this car. I mean, it was a four door. Who customizes four doors, right? So, but it was my first car, and so I was filling it with Bondo, and then I would fill it. I would, nobody taught me how to do it. I was 16 years old, so I would slap on a whole bunch of it. I wouldn't really mix it too well, and then it would like have this big old spot where it's soft in the middle, because the bondo didn't cure right, because the hardener really didn't get there. And so this is when I started to think, man, this thing sucks. You gotta you gotta mix it well, and you gotta do this. So I started putting more hardener to the bondo, and it would speed things up. Then I said to myself, wow. So all right, so if I can do the hardener, add more hardener to the bondo, then I can do things a lot faster. And I did, but the problem was I would get it on there, but it would dry so fast, and it would have all these big lumps on the dented rear panel. And then I would actually use a cheese grater and actually try to, I didn't even know, because you're not supposed to just go like this, like all over the place. There's actually a method to doing bondo. You use a cheese grater first, and then you do this, and then hey, all right. Uh, is it Absidy Thomas? That's a cool name, Absidy. I hope I'm saying that right. Well, hope you're having a good day or a good night. I don't know where you are. Wherever you are, good morning, or oh, you said good morning, so it must be morning where you are. I apologize. So, right. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Thomas. I got distracted there. So as I was saying, why am I telling the story? It's gonna hopefully fit into my YouTube channel. Has so many different things like gardening, woodwork, and later on metalwork, travel, visiting wet markets, so on and so forth. But if I can go back to my okay, thank you very much, sir. Thanks. Remember to subscribe and please share. I would appreciate it. And hope everything is going well where you are. Going back to my story. So I thought to myself, wow, so I can speed it up with a hardener, and I have to do this thing, but I could never get it right. I could not, when you're doing body work, it has to be flawless, smooth, and you shouldn't see any waves. And I thought to myself, all right, let me spend a little more time trying to work on this. And I would just like, sand it side to side, up and down. And I would spend, you know, maybe even an hour or so just trying to sand. And the end product was still the same. And I said, wow, I just can't get things right. I said, no matter how I do it, whether I do it really fast or whether I do it really slow and diligently, it still came out like crap. And I said to myself, all right, well, you know, I'm just going to do everything fast and I'm just going to do it. And it's probably going to have the same end results. So I think that's kind of what started my way of thinking of just like doing things quick. And I think, nobody taught me how to be like this. I thought myself to be like this. And I think I can remember around that time too. I think it may have been the same moment or the same incident where I said, you know, there's only so much time in the world. I want to experience as much as I can. And I want to do everything. I want to do archery. I want to shoot weapons. I want to jump out of the sky in a parachute. I want to go bungee jumping. I want to do this. I want to do that. And back then, back in the 60s, it was yeah, 70s. It still wasn't called ADHD. And I think looking back, you know, if anybody is whoever's familiar with me, and I guess when you watch my videos, you may have familiarity, in the manner in which I speak. I kind of bounce around, go off on tangent. Somebody might think that I have ADD or ADHD. Yeah, I suppose you can diagnose anyone, but that's sort of like the background why I kind of do what I do. It's just I have a lot of interest. I don't think we have enough time in this world to really, experience a lot of things. Some people don't really want to do that, but for myself, I want to experience a lot of things, and so that's why my videos on YouTube may initially seem like they're scatterbrained, but there's going to be a theme that'll actually unfold later if you stick around, and hopefully, it makes sense to you, and I hope if you get something out of it, great. If it's entertainment, great. If it's just to keep you awake while you're at work, well, hopefully, that you get you get something out of it. So this is the premiere edition, and I was thinking, what can I do? Um, you know, uh, and so just a few moments ago, I actually thought, well, how do I dialogue, right? Because this is the first time, and that I'm doing this, and how can I dialogue with my audience? And I am really appreciative of Miss Absidy Thomas, and it looks like it's a male uh, uh, avatar. So if I can call you Mr. Thomas, thank you very much for being the first. Um, so I actually thought, all right, well, maybe people can, what viewers can ask about something, and I can, I'll take anything. I'll even take bad reviews. So, but I thought, well, I actually I actually watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I think it's actually for me, I like the platform because I can actually just you know uh, go breeze through it, or actually get really get glued to it, and So anyway, going. So what am I going to be doing for live? Well, I thought until I get this thing sussed out, I can read some of the books that I've been wanting to read. I've actually, to be honest, I've actually read. Well, actually, I didn't read it. I cheated. I listened to a podcast of The Art of War by Sun Tzu. So I was thinking of reading that. Then I said, well, I have other books that I haven't read that I've been wanting to read, and the Myths of the Norsemen, and uh, and then there's also Thus Spoke Zarathustra with Friedrich Nietzsche. I've read part of it before, and this guy's a hard read. It was driving me nuts. And then there's the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I think yeah, I've been wanting to read them. And then there's my son and I were actually buying old books for a while. We would go to like swap meets and the Goodwill and buy books. And I've always wanted to get uh, an understanding of what the books were like prior to political correctness. So I'm actually thinking of reading these and see if you folks can pick out any politically incorrect stuff. Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not too offensive. If it is, I don't mean to be. I am just reading off the book. So it's called A Study of History, and it's from Oxford Press, and it's by Arnold J. Toynbee. All right. Well, if I think I have two viewers. Um, any request? If none, I can always stop. But I was thinking of reading The Art of War by Sun Tzu. I think this is very good because if you look at what's going on in the world right now, I think there's a lot of stuff, uh, and it kind of gives you an insight of how one leader or country may be acting or how they may be acting. So, without further ado, if you folks don't mind, I will start reading from The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Now, this particular book, which was edited with an introduction by Dallas Gavin, was translated by Lionel Giles. And let's see. So let's see. There's usually a forward. Alrighty. So I'm not the best reader, but maybe after a while, I might be a little more interesting. Hopefully, that's the exercise here, is to hopefully be uh, a little more articulate. So here we go. Sun Tzu. So it's I guess this is the 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 introduction. Oh, it's just a little bit about Sun Tzu. Strategy, espionage, deception, military tactics. These are the themes elucidated in the ancient Chinese text, The Art of War, the indispensable handbook to a subject that has occupied kings and generals for millennia. Little is known about the historical figure of the book's author, Sun Tzu. The earliest accounts of his life were written hundreds of years after he died, and the surviving information is clouded by legend. Thought to have lived in the 5th century BC, at roughly the same time as Confucius, Sun Tzu was born Sun Wo. Sun was his family name, Wu his given name, and Tzu an, an honorific title. His family was part of a clan of experts on arms and fighting. In that era, clans and families, quote unquote, owned information. Just in the medieval European guilds, fathers passed on specialized knowledge, and training to their sons. Sun Tzu's teachings are mostly likely a combination of his clan's ideas and his own, as well as concepts associated with early Taoism. Throughout ancient times, the political and social climate of China was characterized by violent upheaval, the rise and fall of great dynasties, and almost continuous military conflict. Sun Tzu followed the profession of his clan and, on the basis of his growing reputation, entered the service of Ho Lu, king of the state of Wu, as a traveling advisor for hire. His military stratagems intrigued the king, and Sun Tzu eventually became general of the king's army, employing psychology, deceit, strategic power, and diplomacy as the fundamental arts of combat. Sun Tzu defeated numerous opponents and created a systematic treatise on war. The military history offers dramatic testimony of Sun Tzu's wisdom. The adoption of his methods by the leaders of history's great armies, and the failure of those who disregard him. The world of Sun Tzu and the art of war. Circa 1700 to circa 1700 to circa 1027 BC, the Shang dynasty is the first documented Chinese civilization. Cities are built, and writing and techniques of bronze metallurgy are developed. Circa 1027, the Chu dynasty begins, the golden age of Chinese philosophy, including the works of Confucian and Lao Tzu. It will last until 221 BC. The first part of the Chu dynasty, known as the Western Chu dynasty, will last until 772 BC, when the Chinese rulers are forced east by barbarians from the north. The king is killed, but his son establishes a new capital at Luoyang. 772. The Eastern Chu dynasty begins. Its first part, the spring and autumn period. It is a time of continuous wars for survival among small city states. The Chu emperor steadily loses power as the feudal lords realize he can be beaten, as proved by the defeat in the West. By the end of the spring and autumn period, around 481 BC, only about a dozen consolidated central states will remain. 685 to 643. An early state hegemony is established under Duke Huan of Qi, spelled Qi. He introduces new state institutions such as taxation, a state-funded army, and state-owned ownership of natural resources. He also establishes an alliance of central states to oppose the power of the large southern kingdom of Chu. 632. A hegemony of Jin is established under Duke Wen. Circa 551, Confucius is born in the northern state of Lu. Over the course of his life, he rises from a warehouse manager to become one of history's best known teachers. 546, the state of Sun, which is bordered by the warring states of Chu and Jin, invites a delegation of 11 states to sign a non aggression pact. The peace lasts 40 years and gives the larger states a reprieve from several hundred years of constant war. 544. Sun Wu is born in the state of Qi. Later, he will be given the honorific title Sun Tzu, meaning Master Sun. 514. The ruler, the rule of King Ho Lu of the state of Wu begins. 510. Sun Tzu enters the service of Ho Lu. 506. The 40-year peace brokered by the state of Sun in 546 BC is broken by the state of Wu, which was not part of the peace agreement. 500. To defend against marauding barbarians from the north, the northern Chinese states begin building walls that are later connected to form the Great Wall of China. 496. King Ho Lu dies of wounds sustained in battle. Although Sun Tzu's death is never confirmed, it is assumed he did not outlive the king. 482. Wu gains power and becomes the dominant state in ancient China. 479. Confucius dies, leaving many followers who spread his teachings about the proper management of society based on sympathy or human heartedness. 472. The state of Wu is defeated by the upstart state of Yue, spelled Y-U-E. Circa 403, the Eastern Chu dynasty's warring states period begins. It is characterized by a power struggle between the larger states of China, each trying to gain control over the entire area. The Warring States period will last until the end of the Chu dynasty around 221 BC. Circa 380, Sun Pin, a descendant of Sun Tzu, is born. Sun Pin is the supposed author of The Lost Art of War, which is considered a companion piece to The Art of War. Sun Pin will achieve great fame as a general, and his writings will build on ideas and tactics found in Sun Tzu's seminal work. 221 BC, China is unified under the harsh rule of Qin Shi Huangdi. The Chu dynasty ends and the Qin dynasty begins. Bureaucratic government is established and a written language is standardized. Roads and canals are built, as is much of the Great Wall. 91. The Shi Che, historical records. The first known history of China is completed. It includes one of two ancient biographies of Sun Tzu. First century AD, the Wu Ye Chun Chu appears. It contains a biology of Sun Tzu that details his fabled arrival into the service of King Ho Lu. The Wu Ye Chun Chu is entertaining, but it is most likely a romanticized embellishment of the tales found in the Shi Chi. 1772, The Art of War is translated into French by Father J. J. Amiot, a Jesuit who learned of Sun Tzu and the art of war while he was a missionary in China. The translation is probably read by Napoleon. Hmm. In 1905 in Tokyo, the first English translation of The Art of War by Captain E.F. Calthrop appears under the title Son Shi, the Japanese form of Sun Tzu. 1910, Lionel Giles publishes his English translation of The Art of War. 1972, an archaeological dig unearths a lost text of The Art of War in the Shantung province of modern China. The text contains long sections of 13 chapters that are already known as passages from 5 lost chapters. The text appears to have been buried around 140 BC. All right. Here I read the Introduction. Oh, wow, that's a lengthy introduction. but but there's a paragraph here from Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche from Human, All Too Human, dated 1878. And he goes, "It is mere illusion and pretty sentiment to expect much from mankind if it forgets how to make war. As yet, no means are known which call so much into action as a great war. That rough energy born of the camp, that deep impersonality born of hatred, that conscience born of murder and cold bloodedness, that fervor born of effort in the annihilation of the enemy, that proud indifference to loss, to one's own existence, to that of one's fellows, to that earthquake like soul shaking which a people needs when it is losing its vitality." Sorry. I think I'll just jump into chapter one. And I'm actually expecting my son to arrive any moment. We're supposed to go to lunch. And I thought I'll keep you insomniac's company until he arrives. I guess in the case of Mr. Thomas, good morning to you, sir. Keep you company this morning, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I hope there's even if it's just a faint, interest in what we're doing here. Hopefully, I'll get feedback, good and bad. And oh, I think I lost Mr. Thomas. I think I'm the only one here. I think I'll limit it to 45 minutes. I think I've been live for the last 32 minutes and 6 seconds. So I apologize if I lost you there. And this is a preface. Uh, uh, Mr. Giles prefaces it says he's got a dedication. It says, "To my brother, Captain Valentine Giles." Is either Giles or Giles, Giles. It says, "Captain Valentine Giles, RC. In the hope that a work 2,400 years old may yet contain lessons worth consideration by the soldier of today. This translation is affectionately dedicated, Lionel Giles." All right, the art of war. Eh, without further ado, wow, this and I think I apologize. I'm going to sneeze because this is kind of dusty. Excuse me. Oh, bad broadcasting. I apologize. The art of war. And the art of war. You shall call this chapter one. And it is titled Laying Plans. Sun Tzu said, "The art of war is of vital importance to the state." Number two, it is a matter of life and death, a road either to safety or to ruin. Hence, it is a subject of inquiry which can on no account be neglected. The art of war, and number three, the art of war, then, is governed by five constant factors to be taken into account in one's own deliberateness when seeking to determine the conditions obtaining in the field. I'm not going to read the numbering. I'll just read it as if there are no numbers. And it goes to say, these are, there's five of them, and he numbers them. Okay. All right. I'll just read it as is. These are, number one, moral law. Number two, heaven. Number three, earth. Number four, the commander. And number five, moral and discipline. The moral law causes the people to be in complete accord with their ruler, so that they will follow him regardless of their lives, undiminished by any danger. Does that sound familiar? Heaven signifies night and day, cold and heat, times and seasons. Earth comprises distances, great and small, danger and security, open ground and narrow passes, the chances of life and death. The commander stands for the virtues of wisdom, sincerity, benevolence, courage, and strictness. By method and discipline are to be understood the marshaling of the army in its proper subdivisions, the gradations of rank among the officers, the maintenance of roads by which supplies may reach the army, and the control of military expenditure. These five heads should be familiar to every general. He who knows them will be victorious. He who knows them not will fail. Therefore, in your deliberations, when seeking to determine the military conditions, let them made let them be made the basis of a comparison in this wise. Which of the two sovereigns is imbued with the moral law? Which of the two generals has most ability? With whom lie the advantages derived from heaven and earth? On which side is discipline more rigorously enforced? Which army is the stronger? On which side are officers and men more highly trained? In which army is there greater constancy both in reward and punishment? By means of these seven considerations, I can forecast victory or defeat. The general that hearkens to my counsel and acts upon it will conquer. Let such a one be retained in command. The general that hearkens not to my counsel nor acts upon it will suffer defeat. Let such a one be dismissed. While heeding the profit of my counsel, avail yourself also of any helpful circumstances over and beyond the ordinary rules. According as circumstances are favorable, one should modify one's plans. All warfare is based on deception. Hence, when able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must seem inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. When we are far, we must make him believe we are near. Hold out baits to entice the enemy. Feign disorder and crush him. If he is secure at all points, be prepared for him. If he is in superior strength, evade him. If your opponent is of choleric temper, seek to irritate him. Pretend to be weak, that he may grow arrogant. If he is taking his ease, give him no rest. Attack him where he is unprepared. Appear where you are not expected. These military devices leading to victory must not be divulged beforehand. Now, the general who wins a battle makes many calculations in his temple ere the battle is fought. The general who loses a battle makes but few calculations beforehand. Thus do many calculations lead to victory, and few calculations to defeat. How much more no calculation at all? It is by attention to this point that I can foresee who is likely to win or lose. All right, 39 minutes and 47 seconds. The next chapter is Waging War. Well, um, I had one viewer. I still think that's a success. I was able to dialogue. I think as I hope I'm given the chance to do this. We can we can improve on it. I'm just trying to. I hope I don't sneeze so much with the dust because these books have been gathering dust, and I'll leave them here. Um, so I'm gonna end it in a few minutes, and hey, somebody just joined us. Welcome to the premiere edition of Quailer 100 Goes Live. Um, if you haven't subscribed to Quailer 100, I would be very grateful if you do. And like I said, I'm sure one day, and I'm hoping that one day I'm able to have um, dialogue with folks from different time zones and different parts of the world. And I'm gonna end it right here. Oh, I got a thumbs up. Thank you so much. And I didn't do that. So I will try this again probably tomorrow. I think partly this is just to see how things will look, how things will sound, and I am so grateful. I actually have I said I was going to end it at 45 minutes. I actually have a whole bunch of T-shirts that I've been wanting to find good homes to. A lot of them are large and extra large. If you're interested, it says Quailer 100 on the left breast, and on the back, it's a quail, and it says Quailer 100. If you folks are interested, when I'm going live, let me know. I think the only and I if you're interested, I think we just need to find a way so I can deliver these, get these delivered to you. Anyway, if I don't see you or you don't see me, I wish you happy holidays and happy New Year. But if you join me tomorrow, that'll be great. I hope you join me again if you're joining me, because there's one person. I think I know who it is. Again, thank you so much for joining me on this premiere edition of Quailer Goes Live. Thank you very much. And I hope I can find the button where I can sign out. Oh, it says end stream. All right. Thank you for watching, and I hope you join the covey. This is Quailer 100 signing off.